to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. Come with us, Out of Bounds, as we discuss and debate the latest topics in the world of sports. We have a great show ahead, so let's get to it.
Hello and welcome back to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harrison, alongside my co-host, Irvin Ruiz. We've been back. We've been gone for a while, and now we're back. To get started. It's been a while. How are you doing, Irvin?
I'm doing good today, man. A lot of interesting stuff happening this weekend. I'm excited to be back. There's a lot of good things happening. We're going into the playoff picture. I'm so ready for this, man. It's going to be some great games. Lots of things to talk about this weekend. You could talk about drama. You can talk about stats. What do you got in store for us, man?
And you know, the first place I'm going is Antonio Brown.
Oh, AB.
I first want to talk, because it's a lot of different things I want to hit on. But the first thing I want to hit on is a personal matter that I have with Antonio Brown. He's done this to me 2 seasons in a row.
Oh, were you a guy that believed in him? You gave him another shot?
So I had his fantasy league, right?
Oh, here we go.
And I've been rolling the whole entire season. So I fired off and won like the first 13 games. I lost like 1. And so I got the first round bye week because I had the number 1 seed for my fantasy. And so like a lot of guys was out because of, with a lot of, people are dealing with COVID and things like that. A lot of players are in and out of rotations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I went in and, kind of tweaked the roster a little bit. AB had, gave me significant points the game before. I think he got me like 20 points that previous game. So I was like, I'm going to put him in again. They're playing the Jets, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to put in Tampa Bay's defense too, because I felt like they're going to give me like the best shot to secure the victory for the championship. So I said, man, I got this in the bag. I was like, I'm cooking. I'm going to be get the first championship, because last year I lost the championship last year in the same position. So I was like, this year I got it. And so I had my roster together. I'm sitting here smiling. I said, man, I finally did it. I got the championship. Like I'm the fantasy owner, and I'm like, I always lose the damn championship. So I was like, you know what? This is gonna be my year. I was like, I'm gonna finally get it. So put in Antonio Brown, put in the Bucs defense, and so I'm looking at the stats because I didn't have the game. I didn't watch the game. I was watching like the highlights and stuff like that. So I'm looking.
I didn't have it either. I was watching the reports as it was going on.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats. The Bucs was losing.
Oh yeah, they were. They were losing almost the whole game. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sitting here doing this number. I'm like,
the Jets trying to put him away. So the Jets the Jets were trying to pay basically for the tie, because even though they had the lead, so they played aggressive. They were expecting ready to go drive and get a touchdown. So they were trying to get a touchdown. They played it aggressive. It was like 4th and 2. They couldn't convert.
Oh, I was so super upset. And then I'm looking at Antonio Brown's points. I'm looking at the defense points. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then all of a sudden, I'm seeing the images in the video. Antonio Brown just stripping down in the middle of the game, piecing out, and then rolls out.
He was trying to show the fans his 6-pack, man. That's the strategy.
I said, what in the world is this? In all of my years of watching pro football, I've played high school football. I mean, I just can't put words to what I witnessed. And then, like I said, I lost the championship because he want to spaz out. And I'm like, what in the world? But a lot of people are defending this behavior. And we've seen this before from Antonio Brown. and some of his few stops around the NFL. We've seen it in Pittsburgh, Oakland, New England. The question I have for you after watching that, does he get another shot in the NFL?
I think teams will forget about it by next year, and then somebody will pick him up. I don't, and it's going to come with a lot of incentives in that contract. I don't think you trust a guy like that, and more importantly, shame on the NFL for really promoting this stuff because they're really not trying to put a stop to it. Because talent, talent speaks, and so he's got a great talent. He's a generational talent, and whether you think he's great and phenomenal, whether you hate him, you can't deny that he has unbelievable talent on the football field. And at the end of the day, that's what people are gonna look at him. But he ruined his own legacy by completely going off the rails and just losing it. And you could call that a mental health issue. You could call that, you could blame it on CTE. There could be a lot of different factors that people are throwing in the mix. But at the end of the day, he's a great talent. And, probably, I would say next season, he probably ends up with whatever team because, somebody's going to want to fix him, quote unquote, and give him another shot.
I mean, they're going to quickly forget about it. I mean, no doubt about that. But who would be desperate enough after seeing what transpired in that game? Who would need a guy of this talent, but also this much baggage to say, "Hey, we need him. This is our missing piece." Who would be that desperate to do it?
It had to be one of the football teams that's under 500. I don't know, Jacksonville. It doesn't look right. Yeah,
Mhm.
I just can't think of any upcoming organizations that would be benefiting from having AB there anymore. I don't see him playing with a rookie quarterback. I don't see him in an organization with a tough coach and all the ones that I potentially could have seen him in if he didn't have all this drama surrounding him are just off the table completely. You look at teams like New England. New England is in desperate need for a number one receiver type player. And unfortunately, they tried that in the past and goodbye AB. So can't go to AB. You're not sending him to Cleveland to deal with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield couldn't even control OBJ, nowhere near enough
Mhm.
to control AB. And then you get Tom Brady couldn't control him. So it's just a tough situation, but I think it has to be a team that's under 500. Something like Jacksonville, Houston, some place like that, man. It's just it's a bad look on the organization.
Yeah, I don't think they should have signed him in the first place. Just given his history, because the things that they were looking to accomplish, I think they had enough. I think that they had enough to get to their ultimate destination, and I think that when you have such a talent like that, you find yourself trying to get him the football to satisfy him, to keep him quiet and things like that. And once, and I don't know if you noticed, like once they actually like direly needed AB, it couldn't have came at a perfect time when they actually needed him, because you had the injury to Chris Godwin and various different other injuries. Mike Evans' availability was kind of um, uncertain as well. So AB became a necessity going into the postseason because he has the rapport with Tom Brady. He's immensely talented, and you could go really far with Antonio Brown. But his demons, man, like it's just
Well,
so
look,
much.
I mean, I don't want to speculate with Antonio Brown, but I mean, if I wanted to, come up with like theory of what the hell happened, I would probably say that, I mean, BA already didn't want him in the first place, and especially not after the whole fake vax scandal or
Right.
whatever that the hell took off. And I'm sure that he probably didn't agree with the way that he addressed the media a couple like last week, um, talking about how the media talks crap about him and they're the ones that stir everything up and it's all their fault. It's like, no, man, you're doing this to yourself. And
Mhm.
so with AB, it's just it's just you want him to be so good because he's that talented, and it's so tiring and frustrating whenever he does things like this. And so I can only imagine what you know, BA probably wanted him gone after that, overlooking all the whole talented and whatever. He was obviously over it, and so I think it just boiled over. I think even though Brady wanted him there as a necessity, at the end of the day, uh, BA wasn't on board, and this was that was the exact excuse BA needed to tell Brady that it's over, man. We got to get rid of him.
So during the game, he did get targeted 5 times. He caught 3 balls for 26 yards, no touchdowns. Um, just going back to the game, because we're kind of shifting, and AB can take over the whole show just by that incident alone. But getting back to that game, Brady was 34 of 50, which he's a 44-year-old quarterback dropping back 50 times. That's just excessive amount of attempts. He completed 34 of those 50 passes for 410 yards. He had 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. The running game was obsolete. They couldn't run the football to save their lives. They had a 3-headed running attack with Keyshawn Vaughn, Ronald Jones, and the newly minted Le'Veon Bell, in which he was able to carry the football 3 times for only 5 yards, averaging 1.7. The big news: Gronk is back. Gronk received the ball 7 times, 10 targets for 115 yards. He did not get into the end zone, but
And
Gronk.
I heard the whole AB thing was correlated to some of with Gronk
Yeah, that's why I
about
was mentioning him particularly because
yeah
he was, I guess, upset that Brady was favoring him more again. I guess I don't know.
yeah.
Um, you're a professional athlete. I mean, you're trying to win football games. Brady is all about winning. He doesn't have a particular favorite target. If you're open, he's gonna get you the football. If the coverage is soft, he's gonna fit the football where it needs to be. He's not gonna put the football in harm's way. He's not gonna force feed you. You're gonna get your
I
targets.
will say though, the conflict of interest though, it's like you can tell the shift in focus for the offense to give Brady, his stats and his records. So a player like AB can get caught up in that and twisted and want to say, want to compare himself to the level of greatness of Tom Brady and want to have the same, perks as Brady. But I mean, you can't say that the team, doesn't focus on people's stats, right? Because Brady's getting fed, man. He's getting fed those yards right now.
Yeah. I don't think that he's gonna win the MVP this year. I think this is already Aaron Rodgers' award to lose. Once again, he's been playing phenomenal. Outside that one game that he started the season against your Saints, he's been incredible, and
Mhm.
um, I don't see anybody threatening that. They did lock up the number 1 seed. If the Bucks do run into these Packers again, it definitely would be a different story going into the playoffs. If they get the Bucks again, it's going to be a reverse situation. I do think that Aaron Rodgers is a man on a mission. If they get that home playoff game again, I think
Not
he's
to
going to
mention
cash
their
it in this time.
defense gets some stars back too. You got Davian Howard back. Um, you got Bakhtiari back on the O line. I mean, it'll be a tough team to beat. The real question though is who's your pick out of the AFC?
Um, Good question. Let's shift gears. We've done enough talking about Antonio Brown and how he's crucified my fantasy football team last night. Um, Good question. AFC pick. Man, I'm not gonna flip, man. I mean, New England is still in it. Um,
Oh my God, you're not still rolling with New England, dude. That
I'm
was
telling
shown
you,
3 weeks ago. No.
we talked about this, but I still feel like there's something there. Um,
Okay.
the Bengals just came up a lot on my radar too. I can't really
No,
discount.
you get one pick. You get your one pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with New England then.
You're still going with New England?
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
don't I don't really see. I
Uh-huh.
don't know. They're my dark horse pick. I mean, it's like a stretch. It's very hot take. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna go with New England.
But okay, look, all I'm gonna say is this, okay? In the last 3 games, well, besides the Jaguars victory where they just put up 50 points, right? They went up against teams that are over 500, right? Playoff contending teams, right? And Mac Jones played horrible football. And besides the Bills game where they ran it almost every single play, besides the three that he threw, I mean, they lost. They lost in games where they can't establish the run, and I think that that's very very obvious. And it's very very obvious that Mac Jones is a rookie, and they're going to put the pressure on Mac to make those big throws come clutch time. And unfortunately for Mac, he just hasn't been able to do that. And so that's where I see New England's biggest weakness is just the fact that they have a rookie quarterback, and the experience is going to be there, and the lack of a number one option will eventually show up as well. And it's a team that I see a potential growth in the future, but I just don't see them this year.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm still rolling with them. Um,
Yeah.
I I don't have anything else. I mean, you want to probably go Kansas City. I know you.
Haha. Yeah.
But I seen what the Bengals was able to do to their defense.
Yeah, they got slain. I also think there's a couple bad calls in that game. I won't say all of them. You know, the Chiefs. There was a lot of PIs for sure. The Chiefs were committing. They got scared of Jamal over the top, obviously. But I mean, there was a couple calls that I think the refs were just, you know, at that point just. It's one of those points where you just like let them play. There's like a call for PI during a clutch time of the game where I believe it was Ward or somebody, and they called hands to the face, and the guy literally like didn't even grab the face mask or no, they literally just passed his helmet, like it slid, like he was trying to grab him, and he moved or something, and his hand slid his helmet. Even the commentators were like, "That's a bad call."
Mhm.
but of course, sorry about that. But of course, the not to discredit the Bengals. They were played amazing. They're obviously showing up at the right time. They're getting hot at the right time. Definitely dark horse there. Um, I think Joe Burrow, what he's been able to do coming into his second season, and just absolutely just putting his team on notice, putting the NFL on notice that he's there. Um, getting his name in there with all that amazing like rookie quarterback class, and with Justin Herbert succeeding where he's at, and everybody's talking about Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and everybody, and now Burrow wants his name being thrown up there. And to be honest, I personally think the AFC is going to come down to the Chiefs and the Bengals. I think it comes down to them, between them two. I think either the Chiefs or the Bengals are coming out of the AFC.
No, sir. Neither
I
one
think
of those
so.
teams. I'm telling you, I'm not finna bet on Bill Belichick. You're not finna get me to do that. Once he get in the postseason, it's a wrap.
I'm telling you, it's going to be Mac. It's gonna be Mac. He's like,
I'm
yes,
a,
it'd be incredible, but it's gonna be Mac, man.
I
It's
finna
just
I want to poke
uh,
holes in your picks, so I'm gonna go Chiefs. Their back end couldn't hold a leaky faucet, you know. So
who
that
else has a receiver like that in the AFC besides the Bills? And the Bills aren't even firing on full cylinders for whatever reason. But who besides the Bengals has a receiving core that can really put up numbers like that?
bro, you've seen this happen before with the Bengals. They don't have an O line either.
I know, and for whatever reason they protect. I mean, yeah, he took I think 3 or 4 sacks that game.
I think he's the
So
most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
he is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. But even then, did you see what he did?
No, I didn't watch the game.
You didn't watch the game,
No.
dude. I was, I mean, I was watching the game and I was like, okay, Mahomes obviously heard all the noise talking about Burrow, blah blah blah. Because in the first half, like the Chiefs were just marching up and down the field just as well as the Bengals were, and so for a second you were like, okay, well, Patrick Mahomes just shutting up everybody, and then here comes the Bengals in the second half, and their defense was able to stop the Chiefs just more times than the Chiefs were able to stop the Bengals, and so that sucked.
Let's look at the top 5 teams right now in the AFC. So the number 1 team right now, you have the Titans. Record wise, not talent. I'm just going record right now.
Hmm.
You have the Chiefs, in which both the Titans and the Chiefs are 11-5. You
Yeah, but
also
the Titans have the tiebreaker. They beat the Chiefs earlier in the
oh
season.
yeah. That's when Derrick Henry was still playing then.
Yep.
So that's that. Yeah. So that
And they might get Derrick Henry in the playoffs.
really, I know that.
Hmm.
That'd
Yeah,
be very interesting.
they
But then,
might get him. If not first, second round if they make it.
if they make it, if they make
If
it,
they make it,
that's a big if.
and that's going to be a huge matchup thing, man. It just depends on who they get. Yeah, because
So
I honestly think so. In the AFC, the Bills obviously have the best defense. In the AFC, they built their team to stop high-powered offenses. Um, like the Chiefs. So I think that the Chiefs don't want to see the Bills, and neither do the Bengals, because I think the Bills are just built to counter those fast receivers of both teams. Obviously, Jamal Chase is just gonna go up there and get it. It looks like he might be establishing himself as one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL after what he did to
mhm.
that Chiefs secondary. I mean, the amount of 50-50 balls that he came down with, he didn't lose a single 50-50 ball basically. And if he did, it was because of PI. Like
Mhm.
Burrow couldn't have said it any better. He said, honestly, man, just like the meme, yo, Jamal's over there, just throw it his direction and let him go up there.
Right.
And that's exactly what they did.
Well, so then you got Bengals after Chiefs, Bills, Patriots. Those are your top 5.
No, I don't know. No, so if you want
Record
my top
wise,
five,
this is not talent. I'm just going by the
oh, okay, okay,
playoff
okay, okay.
picture. This is not in any order from my pick or anything like that. This
Mm,
is the playoff picture as of right now, as of
okay.
previous week. That's record wise, not talent. This is not my official pick. And then you have the Colts, they're hanging around, and then you got the Chargers, which I think those 2 teams will get in because the on the bubble right now is going to be the Vegas Raiders. But then we hop on to the NFC side. Obviously, the Packers did lock up the number 1 seed by defeating the Vikings. You got Rams. After that, Bucks, Cowboys, Cardinals, Eagles. The 49ers still could get in. And also, the Saints are not out. but we know they're probably going to be out.
Yeah, I think the 49ers have to lose. I'm not quite sure who they play, but they have to lose, and
Yeah, they
I
just
just don't see them losing. I
killed.
think it's a division game for them.
Could be because they would have to play that last one to be in the division, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not really too concerned right now with the Saints getting in or getting out. To me, I'd rather just at this point let them rebuild. They got a lot of questions to answer,
Hmm.
so they have a lot of offense issues they have to address. Michael Thomas, quarterback, salary cap, um, so many different things going on down there. But let's talk about NFC now, huh?
Yeah, we're finna talk about the Cowboys. That's what we're finna talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Cowboys. So this is gonna be our final topic of the day. Is Cowboys. I'm a little biased. I'm a Cowboy fan. Been a Cowboy fan for a very long time. Um, they just did not look like a complete football team. They did not look like the same team that beat the Washington football team the previous week. I mean that just basically just killed them and just took all their momentum and their pride. And then I'm thinking, hey man, um, we might could beat the Cardinals. They really um fooled me. I was fooled because I was basically saying that, hey, this team is different. This team, but you look at the last couple teams and even the teams that we was blowing out, they have not been good football teams. Um,
I see it in your face, man. I'm sorry.
I mean, I get it, man. Like, I mean, I was really, really, hoping that this season was different, but I cannot, in good faith, in good conscience, sit here on this show and say that I'm confident going into the playoffs because this was the measuring stick game. This was the game that we should have been able to win and make a statement going into the playoffs because the Cardinals, yeah, they've hit their snag and they've lost a few games that they should have won. But with Kyler Murray and some of the other weapons, Zach Ertz, and some of the other pieces that they do have on the defense side of the ball, they're still the formidable team.
Oh
And
yeah, we were talking about some of the most dominant offense in the NFL earlier in the season. So
yeah, and they kind of hit a snag, and they lost that embarrassing one in Detroit. But I still was going to use this game as a launching pad for this football team, this Cowboys football team, to be able to measure them and be like, okay, cool. This might be the team that's going to basically let us know what we have here. And then we lose Michael Gallup, which was unfortunate. Really hate that we lost him. Um, Dak Prescott again starts to struggle again. He only amassed 226 yards. He threw the ball 38 times, completed 24 of those passes. Um, we didn't run the football enough. We just didn't run the football enough. And statistically, when we run the football balanced and throw the football balanced, we wouldn't get football games. Um, Zeke, he only ran the ball 9 times, 16 yards. Pollard only touched the ball 3 times. He only got 9 yards. And Dak had that fumble. He fumbled, I think, 3 times, lost it once. Um, it just did not look good. It did not look like a complete football team. It didn't look like a complete product. And I am very, very concerned going into the playoffs because it's a good possibility that we're going to see the Cardinals again.
look, man, I'm gonna try to break this down as analytical as possible for everybody and just break the game down into parts. All right, let's start with Dak. Dak was not playing like himself. He wasn't taking his reads. He wasn't going through his progressions. He was overthrowing receivers. He had Amari looking in the stands for the freaking ball he threw at him because it was so far behind him and overthrown. It was like, what the hell, man? Like I saw a Dak Prescott that was completely breaking down as the game was advancing up until the end of the third quarter. I saw a Dak Prescott that was not living up to his $75 million name. I saw a Dak Prescott that looked scared to be out there. Like the moment was too big for him to be out there. And ultimately, the headlines are gonna blame Dak because at the end of the day, it's either Dak or McCarthy. Dak or McCarthy. Dak is crumbling. Dak is showing us again another roller coaster season. Obviously, McCarthy isn't helping either with the awful time management and wasting the timeouts. You got played by the Cardinals, a waste of timeout, whatever. We've been laughing about it on the broadcast. Second of all, for whatever reason, there's a formation, the two tight end formation that helps the Cowboys run the ball. Jarwin out there blocking, and then putting your other tight end on the other side, people that are faster to keep up with some of the slimmer defensive ends, giving you guys that run game. It's analytically proven that every time that this line and Zeke put up 100+ yards, you win. Without it, you're 0-5. And so, the question right now, we can talk about Dak's future and as a starter and what's going on and market value and everything. We can start talking about that later. Right now, finish off the season with who you got, right? And so that run game needs to come alive. They need to go back and Kellen Moore needs to go and look at his offensive line formations and how he's going to be running the ball because right now it's not working. Zeke literally had nine attempts for 16 yards. That is horrible. That is horrible. You can't put it all in Zeke at the same time. You need a line, especially because realistically, he's not the same Zeke anymore. And finally, we saw Trayvon Diggs again exposed for what kind of corner he is. Fortunately, they don't look at him as Diggs Island. They look at him as Diggs double move and go. So unfortunately, same thing happened again. He got cocky. He thought it was an easy pick. He jumped it, and AJ made him pay. And unfortunately, he was gone. And that right there is what turned the momentum in the game. You giving up such a big play like that, all of a sudden the Cardinals think they can throw on you, and Kyler Murray's over here feeling confident as hell about him throwing that bomb and him connecting with Green. And he was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I played these Cowboys last year. I'm about to throw this ball up that my receivers are either going to come up with or there's going to be some sort of PI call." And so Kyler Murray immediately turned on. He was making all the right plays, all the right throws, taking whatever you guys were giving him, and he really only put the ball in a chance for you guys to have it one time, and Kearse dropped it. And so without the turnovers, that affected the game as well. Defense didn't come up with any turnovers. You guys thrive off of turnovers, and it never happened in the game. I don't know why the hell Dan Quinn had Michael Parsons just, I guess, pass covering, and he was running in the middle of the field and trying to go on the outs, and you could tell the Cardinals were running the ball opposite direction of wherever the hell he was. And so at some point you have to look at your defensive ends and say, they're not creating any pressure on this guy. I need to quit messing around and find a way to get Parsons on the line and keep him there to keep Kyler contained in that pocket. Otherwise, you get the result of what happened. And so just, we can break down the games completely like we just did a little bit, and you kind of figure out that there's just a lot of star players that aren't living up to their star names, that have to show up in these tough situations other than showing up against a sub 500 team that really isn't a crazy statement.
Yeah, and the part about Micah is almost like it should just be against the law to not have him at the line of scrimmage. His assignment should just be, hey, son, just go get the quarterback. Just line up on the line of scrimmage and go get the quarterback. And about Diggs, a couple of weeks ago, I had already figured this out. He looks for the football. He looks for the pick. They pick on that side of the football because he's not a shutdown corner. it's because they don't respect him to be able to stop whatever they're doing, because he has a lot of receivers that has gotten a lot of yards against his coverage, and expose him once he gets in front of an elite level receiver. Like you said, I mean, double move, he's gonna bite, gone, peace. Um, I don't know. I'm not confident going into the playoffs. I'm hoping that I see a little something against this Eagles matchup next week, but I'm just going to take it week to week and see how it goes, because I'm still rooting for them. I'm hoping that they prove me wrong, but I think I've seen enough. It's going to hurt a lot because I feel like they have not addressed these issues. I mean, I don't know what Dak I'm going to get in the playoffs. I don't know what defense is going to be trotting out there on the field in the playoffs. I don't know how the play calling is going to match up. I don't think Kellen Moore is 100% focused, because he has interviews set up for head coaching position. So I don't know if he's all in, got his 1 foot out, what. Um, I mean, it remains to be seen, and we're going to see it very quickly. What team is going to show up for these playoffs? Like we're going to need that defense to show up. They're going to show up. Take the football away. We're going to need Dak to snap out of this slump. We need to run the football. That's the formula. We need to run the football way more times than we've been running it, and that's all I have to say about that, man. What's your final thoughts?
Oh, well, I think if when you look at the Cowboys' offense and defense, I think you can make some slight adjustments that would really really benefit the team going into the playoffs. Such as, and it's not about completely changing your game plan and ruining what you have going. I think it's more about adjusting little things like the Parsons situation. Okay, look, teams are starting to notice that you're not playing him on the line as often. That can help you in the playoffs because they might not have a formation set up like two or three double or triple coverage on Micah because they're expecting you to use him outside of just sending him after the quarterback. That could be something you could use to your advantage. You have Pollard in the backfield. Maybe you see Dak struggling with some of these passes. Maybe if you play Pollard like an Alvin Kamara type receiver out of the backfield, using that speed to get outside of the sticks and hopefully pick up some yards. I mean, anything that'll help Dak get some of that pressure away from him. A easy check down throw goes a long way to a receiver that can kick it into high gear and get you some yak.
Yeah, it's all about the yak. You also have to catch.
Oh
Love
yeah.
it, man. CD Lamb is phenomenal after the catch, man. But he had a big drop in the game. I'm very disappointed with that. Um,
Not to mention with Gallup being out, it takes him out of the slot now, so he's back on the outside.
we're hoping
And
Wilson can give us something.
hey, man, he was doing good. I mean, the biggest problem there is I don't think the Wilson. Well, no, how to explain it? The biggest problem there is you're losing Gallup on the outside and you're switching CD from the inside back to the outside, and he's the most dangerous in the slot. So that's where you kind of it's a double trade. Not to say that Wilson doesn't do a good job, but you're putting CD outside in a position that he hasn't been playing. He's been playing more in that slot. So
Yeah. We shall see. We will see.
we'll see what
Well,
happens, man.
Irvin, that's the show, man. I want to appreciate everyone that tuned in to the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast. I know that we've been slacking. I recently started picking up a little bit more shifts lately. You know, but we're gonna try to our best to get content out. We've been collabing and talking a little bit more about these sports related topics and things like that. We just ask that the listeners be patient with us as we continue to try to work to advance the show. Um, that's it for me. Irvin, you got anything else?
Guys, we're trying to get on a roll here, trying to get you guys some more content. We want to be different. We want to do different things. Definitely appreciate feedback if you have some. And I think more importantly, don't be afraid at any point to drop any kind of suggestive help or anything like that, that at least lets us know that you guys are watching and are engaging in it. And give us a like. That'd be awesome too. And other than that, everybody be safe. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Peace.
If you love the Out of Bounds Sports Podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.